Welcome back to Manchester United. Michael Carrick. This is certainly an intriguing appointment, especially since for a while there, I really thought Solskjaer was ahead of him in this race. First off, I want to wish Carrick nothing but the best. I genuinely hope he succeeds during his spell as interim manager. Stepping into the hot seat at such a sensitive time isn't something just anyone would have the guts to do. Secondly, good luck to him, because this is going to be a massive challenge requiring a huge amount of effort. But right now, let's talk about what Carrick needs to address immediately at United, because clearly, there are a lot of issues that need fixing. Right now, Manchester United has no shortage of players, no shortage of money, and certainly no lack of ambition. What they lack is a system simple enough for the players to understand exactly where to stand, when to run, and why they need to do it. Ruben Amorim left behind a squad obsessed with systems. Darren Fletcher brought a makeshift brand of football. But then there's Carrick, a man molded in Sir Alex's dressing room, who arrives with a very pragmatic question, before anything else. How do we stop this team from shooting themselves in the foot? Looking at Carrick's Middlesbrough, many just see a team with high possession and high passing volume, yet lacking the cutting edge for promotion. However, if you look closer at the underlying data, it tells a different story. Carrick is one of the few young managers in England capable of constructing a complex, stable build-up system that consistently generates high expected goals over a sustained period. His problem isn't that he doesn't know how to play effective football, it's that he doesn't know when to stop prioritizing beautiful football. And that is his biggest test at Old Trafford. Carrick will likely scrap the back three system immediately and revert Manchester United to a possession-based 4-2-3-1. Nothing defined the Amorim era more than a back three stretched to the point of self-destruction. This season, United has been a team trying to press high while dropping deep, pushing fullbacks forward without a holding midfielder intelligent enough to screen the defense. The result? A team torn in half during almost every transition. Carrick does not believe in chaos. He is a central midfielder schooled in an era where Sir Alex viewed structure as the foundation of everything. The first thing he will do is return the squad to something every player understands. Carrick's 4-2-3-1 isn't just a formation on paper. It is a framework of behaviors. The double pivot sits deep not purely for defense, but to ensure the team isn't exposed during attacks. The center-backs push up not to press, but to keep the team compact. One fullback advances while the other tucks in, forming a back three during the build-up. At Middlesbrough, this system kept them at the top of the championship for successful passes, touches in the opposition box, and various build-up metrics, but more importantly, it ensured they never lost their structure while attacking. For the current Manchester United, that alone is a revolution. Carrick's United won't be a team of manic pressing, but one of controlled tempo and selective attacks. What surprises many people when watching Carrick's Borough is that they aren't actually a high-pressing team. They defend in a standard mid-block 4-4-2. When the opponent advances, they don't rush to steal the ball. They wait for the opposition to play into the specific zones they have trapped. This is exactly what Manchester United has been missing. The difference between Amorim and United was pressing without traps. Players would rush forward, leaving massive gaps behind them, turning every defensive action into a gamble. Carrick doesn't gamble. He plays risk management. When his team has the ball, they keep it, not just for aesthetics, but to lure the opponent out of position. Carrick's Middlesbrough led the championship in build-up play, but they also led in goals from transition. That means they are patient until the opponent reveals a gap, and then they throw the knockout punch. This is Ferguson-style football. It's not tiki-taka, it is control, then kill. For players like Bruno Fernandes and Mbeumo, this is the ideal environment. They don't need to press for 90 minutes, they need space to make decisions. And Carrick understands that better than anyone. If you look at the underlying data, Michael Carrick is one of the young managers with the best build-up systems in England. Opta shows that his Middlesbrough consistently topped the league for attacking sequences, long passing, and box entries. In other words, they don't pass aimlessly, they progress the ball into dangerous areas through structure. Carrick builds his squad with very clear logic. Two holding midfielders sit deep to create a foundation. One fullback pushes high, while the other stays low. The number 10s tuck inside into the half spaces. The striker is usually mobile, linking play rather than just camping in the box. This system crushes teams that dare to press high. When the opponent pushes up, Carrick has enough bodies deep to bypass the press, enough structure to pull them out of position, and enough speed in transition to punish them. However, this very system reveals a clear limit when the opponent refuses to follow the script. When facing teams playing a low block, Middlesbrough often got locked down. Ball circulation became slow, and the space between the lines vanished. The number 10s had no room to turn, and the striker had no space to run in behind. At that point, Carrick lacked a plan B. He didn't have mechanisms for early crosses, simple wing play, or quick one-touch combinations in the box. His system is beautiful when there is space, but fragile when space is choked off. Manchester United in the Premier League will face this exact problem, but at a much more brutal level. Many PL teams are ready to sit deep in a 5-4-1, ceding possession to United and waiting for the counterattack. This is the exact type of opponent that frustrated Carrick's Boro the most. If Carrick cannot add mechanisms to break down a low block, United will fall into the same trap as Boro, dominating the statistics but lacking the goals. The only difference is that United has better players, but if the system doesn't evolve, the problem will remain. And that is the biggest distinction between Carrick and Amorim. Ruben Amorim trusts the system, Michael Carrick trusts the context. At Middlesbrough, Carrick was criticized for being rigid. He remained loyal to the 4-2-3-1 and his build-up principles were almost immutable. But when he returned to Manchester United as interim manager previously, he showed a completely different side. He didn't bring Middlesbrough to Old Trafford, he brought adaptability. His 3 matches in charge were 3 perfect examples. Against Tuchel's Chelsea, Carrick recognized that they controlled the midfield with a 3-4-3. He immediately switched United to a 4-3-1-2 to choke the central area. McTominay, Fred, and Bruno formed a triangle, while Sancho and Rashford played as split strikers. United didn't have much possession, but Chelsea couldn't play their usual game. Against Arsenal, Carrick reverted to the familiar 4-2-3-1 to exploit the imbalance of Arteta's young side. Ronaldo scored, Bruno operated in space, and United won. Then against Villarreal, he did the unthinkable, he dropped Bruno Fernandes. He used a system that tilted the wings, with Fred pushing high to keep Ronaldo in the highest position. It wasn't pretty, but they got the result. Carrick sent a very clear message from those games. When points are needed, he is ready to break his philosophy. This is crucial for Manchester United right now. This is not the time to build a 3-year project. This is the time to scrape every single point to save the season, to secure Champions League football, and to stabilize the dressing room. Carrick understands this clearly. Unlike Amorim, he doesn't view changing the system as a betrayal of his ideals. To him, it is strictly about survival. If you had to summarize Carrick's defensive philosophy, it is composure. His Middlesbrough is not a high-pressing team. They defend in a mid-block, usually a 4-4-2. When needed, they morph into a 5-3-2 with the right wing dropping deep. Carrick doesn't believe in rushing forward like a pack of hungry beasts. He believes in closing spaces, cutting passing lanes, and forcing the opponent to play where they don't want to. The current Manchester United is a team with a broken structure when pressing. The gap between the midfield and the defense is too large. When one player rushes out, the whole system collapses. Carrick will not let that continue. He will drop the line deeper, compact the distance between the lines, and prioritize a clean sheet before thinking about scoring. This might annoy some people. United won't play fiery football. They will play calculated football. But in the current context, that is exactly what United needs most. Manchester United under Carrick won't be a revolution. It will be a calculated firefighting mission. A team with structured possession, selective attacks, cautious defense, and pragmatic ruthlessness when required. And for a club burning from its foundations like Manchester United, sometimes, that is the most valuable thing of all.